Will you speak out when they come for your friends? Will you speak out when they come for your foes? Who will speak out when they come for you? And as the list of the enemies grows, you're already here, you just don't know, in Guantánamo. So I was sitting there and I'm reading this article, and the headline for the article said that a judge declared that a detainee at Guantánamo Bay was, quote, not a person. And it really just made me want to throw up. I was so sickened by this. And then I read the article, you know, and the whole story about how that the United States goes into Afghanistan and just takes like 500 people, takes them back to Guantánamo Bay, Cuba, and puts them there, and they're held. There are no trials. They don't know what they're being held for. They don't have attorneys or lawyers. They're being tortured. They're being waterboarded, and they're trying to get some rights. And the judge says, "You're not a person." So that started me. Just wow! I sat down. I came up with the music, and then the text just flowed. I am not a man. I'm not a face. You don't know who I am, but you keep me in this place. And the whole world can see the empire has no clothes. The land of the free will forever be known, not as the land of the free, but the land of Guantánamo. And I literally stepped back, and it was very powerful, even for me, as someone who writes all the time. This struck me as being something special. What I was writing about and how it was coming out was really powerful. Perhaps the most important song I've ever written.
But as the land of Guantánamo.
And I found an article in Rolling Stone magazine about Omar Khader, who was 15 years old, who was brainwashed by his father that ever since he was a little boy, when he grew up, he would be a martyr and he would kill himself and he would get 72 virgins. And this is what he was taught as a child. And so, of course, he goes to Afghanistan, and he's 15 years old, and the United States soldiers capture him on the field, take him to Guantánamo Bay in violation of the Geneva Conventions, the United Nations treaties, and everything, in total violation. You know, George W. Bush doesn't care about any of that. Takes this little boy to Guantánamo, and there he's tortured and held. So the whole second verse was, I had to keep, when I was writing it, I really had to keep the momentum going. I had to keep the flow going, because I didn't want to lose the creative process of writing. You know, you really want to go, 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 and get it all out. And so I immediately wrote the whole second verse. You know, I was just a boy, an obedient son, did what I was told, to die in the fight and let God take my soul. Look at how far we've come, look at how far we've gone. Together we fall, together we go. Into hell with us all, hell's here and now in Guantánamo. And again, I Googled this quote, and the quote was, first they came for the Jews, but I didn't speak out because I wasn't Jewish. Then they came for the homosexuals, and I didn't speak out because I wasn't homosexual. Then they came for the gypsies, and I didn't speak out because I wasn't a gypsy. Then they came for the communists, and I didn't speak out because I wasn't a communist, and so on and so forth. And then they came for me, and there was nobody to speak out. So I remember I was pacing my kitchen back and forth, trying to figure out how to take this and put it into the song without plagiarizing, without taking the quote exactly, but put it in my own words. And then the third verse was, in your silence you agree that it's okay to torture me. Today's me, tomorrow it's you. You're my Nazi, I'm your Jew. Will you speak out when they come for your friends? Will they speak out when they come for you? Who will speak out? No. Will you speak out when they come for your friends? Will you speak out when they come for your foes? Who will speak out when they come for you? And as the list of the enemies grows, you're already here, you just don't know, in Guantánamo.
You're already here, you just don't know. Guantánamo, Guantánamo.
I broke at least 52 plates. My mom tied a rope around my waist and, tied that other end of the rope to a window. I had to stand there for at least a day. She didn't even give me that day, the whole day, the food. I couldn't eat the whole day. That was a punishment, to go. My life, it's a little bit complicated in a way, but we have lived a very hard time earlier, but nowadays the new government maybe it's getting up a little bit. We have to cope a lot with political stuffs.
We basically don't have any inspiration or any help for doing our music because we are so passionate about this music life we want to do, but we don't have any kind of support or inspiration from elders who do music, or there's very much to find instruments. We also have to see many hard times, but as we are very much passionate, so we somehow manage time from our education or from our daily work. We manage to do music a little bit.
It's because exactly we are doing it for our own happiness. It's not that we're getting something out of it. We're doing it because we like it. We like it from the bottom of our heart. That's why we're doing it. But we don't have exactly that much amount of time to spend on it. But we somehow make it up. He is the one who plays the best. That's why he chooses different types of subjects. That means the sounds, different topics on it.
From our very childhood, we used to make sound in those crepes or whatever we get in front of us.
Eating, we try to make on the plate, we try to make on the cup. That's how we exactly got the theme.
Steel, plastic, or any kind of ceramics, whatever sounds good.
I broke at least 52 plates. My mom tied a rope around my waist and, tied that other end of the rope to a window. I had to stand there for at least a day. She didn't even give me that day, the whole day, the food. I couldn't eat the whole day. That was punishment, to go.
Music is the only way which can reach to the bottom of anyone's heart. Whenever someone is hurt or someone feels gloomy, everyone tries to hear some good songs, slow melody songs. So we don't find in this peace, this kind of peace which music provides in any other thing. So we just want to do for the own satisfaction.
For our own satisfaction.
Do you see the tears the children cry, like dark clouds covering the sky? And do we feel their pain when they stand the rain? Champs-Elysees, a child's playing guitar. With his bright eyed he sings, hardly touching the strings. The only song he knows is about how lucky we are. What's the value of life in this world so insane, where hunger cuts like a knife and all we do is complain? Do you see the tears that children cry, like dark clouds covering the sky? And do we feel their pain when they stand the rain? As long as children die or fall before they're even 3 feet tall, in a world deaf and blind, shelter is hard to find. On the streets of Brazil, a child lives by the day, dreaming of tomorrow, a day without sorrow. He's a grown-up man, trying to find his own way, where hope is a lie and the truth is a promise, where a child has to fight for a piece of bread or a kiss. Do you see the tears that children cry, like dark clouds covering the sky? And do we feel their pain when they stand the rain? As long as children die or fall before they're even 3 feet tall, in a world deaf and blind, shelter is hard to find. As long as harmless children die, it takes someone to wonder why. So open up your eyes and listen to their cries. Do you see the tears that children cry, like dark clouds covering the sky? Do we feel their pain when they stand the rain, as long as children die or fall before they're even 3 feet tall. In a world deaf and blind, shelter is hard to find. In a world deaf and blind, shelter is hard to find.
So he has learned how to take a dream and make it happen. So that's also having a dream and making it happen. It's not just about music. And hopefully I've instilled that on my son, that you can dream something, and I've showed him this is how you make it happen. Specifically with this, you know. But now you can take any dream and you can make it happen. See the smoke in the trees, in the air, on the breeze. See the fly in the flame. It's a crime, it's a game. Let it rise over the mountains. In the United States, you know, it's ironic. We go into Iraq looking for chemical weapons and weapons of mass destruction. But we know where they are. They're in the United States. The United States has stockpiles of chemical weapons. And near where I live, in Utah, which is surrounded by the desert, the Army has built a chemical weapons incinerator. And this operates 24 hours a day. They take these chemical weapons and they are burning them in some incinerator with fire. And the Army says it's safe, but I don't trust the Army, and neither do a lot of people. And it's been closed and shut down many times because of accidents and this and that. So the chemical weapons go up the chimney, out the smokestack, and into the air. And this is right near Salt Lake City, where over 1 million people live. And the air goes from west to east. And I live in Park City, which is in the mountains, to the east of Salt Lake City. So it's in the air there, even if you can't see it, it's in the air. And so that's why I started writing the song. See the smoke in the trees, it's in the air, it's on the breeze. Don't breathe in, don't breathe out. Let it rise over the mountains, let it spread out to the sea. And I started writing it about that. And then it was interesting, you know, when I got to the bridge of the song, because the bridge gets very heavy, and it's very different than the rest of the song, I started thinking of a solution, and I just started singing, we'll build a brand new factory that cleans the air we breathe. We'll build a brand new factory that only replicates the trees. We'll build a brand new factory. Because trees, as we all know with photosynthesis, they breathe in CO2, which causes global warming, and they breathe out oxygen. So the trees, or the lungs of the earth, are a solution. And so I started thinking, you know, if we built factories all over the planet, and we covered the planet with these factories that breathe in CO2 and breathe out oxygen, you know, this would save the planet. And so I put that was the whole kind of industrial bridge of the song. And then the song ends with, you know, see the sun to the east, it's bringing life, it's bringing peace. Again, the song to me is optimistic. It ends with a solution. And the solution is there. The sun is a solution. The trees, the sun and the trees, and they live together and they keep the planet healthy. Brand New Factory is all about carbon recapture, which is capturing the carbon and breathing out oxygen. And then I've actually spoken with some scientists who worked on the chemical weapons incinerator near Salt Lake City. And he said to me, we could do it. We could totally do it. If we can burn chemical weapons and put it through a process so that by the time it comes out of the chimney, it's clean air, then we can definitely come up with a process that takes CO2, carbon dioxide, and by the time it comes out, it's oxygen. We can do it. We just need the money.
Let it spread out to the sea. Let it rise over the mountains. Let it spread out to the sea.
Yeah, I think that we all have to be responsible. We all are responsible, for sure. You know, it's interesting in the music world, you know, when people started realizing, wait a second, they have this plastic case that every CD comes in. We need to stop doing that, because eventually people throw away the plastic case. So people in the music business just started making the CD cases out of paper, hopefully recycled paper, so that eventually it biodegrades. So the person that produces it, even if I'm going to sell this to somebody on the other side of the world, it's biodegradable. And that's the same thing you're talking about here. If we're selling products to Africa, and the products are going into these gigantic, we call them landfills, and they're toxic or they're wasteful and they're building up, then the people that make the products, it's the responsibility of the person that creates the product to make sure that it's environmentally sensitive. If you don't see the signs, then you're blind. That we have to change the way we live our lives. Every single person on this planet, all 6 billion people. That everything we do has to change. From driving cars. You know, we've known about global warming for decades, but we're still driving cars. We know that these plastic bottles are polluting the world right now, and yet we still make them. You still go into the gas station, and there are refrigerators filled with them. So we have to stop. We have to change. You know, my son Ian is 13, and he's becoming more and more aware. He's always been aware. You know, he has me as a father. So, but he said, you know, the Mayan calendar ends in 2012, Dad. And a lot of kids in school are saying the world will end in 2012. I mean, I always get choked up when I think of my children when they say things like that to me. So I said to him, well, you know, perhaps the Mayan calendar ends in 2012 because human beings, as we know it, will change completely. And it's going to be the end of the way human beings were. And it will be the beginning of an entirely new way of living on this planet. I said, I think that the Mayan calendar ends then because there's going to be such a major shift, change, that everything's going to be brand new. We're going to be starting. Spiritually, people are opening up to all kinds of new and I would say better, but just different ways of looking at life. And the environment is not just a bunch of tree huggers and not just Greenpeace, but everybody in this planet has to think about the environment now. And everything we do affects everybody else on this planet. So I think perhaps what you're talking about, Ian, my son, I said, is that life as we know it is going to continue, but then in a whole new way. The first thing is that we recognize that we're all the same. That we all love music. We all have families and children. We have friends. We have recreation. And we're not all different, you know, that we're all the same. I live in a neighborhood with people from South America, and people from Mexico, and people from North America. It's a very diverse little community. And I'm always hearing music from other places. I don't always like it, you know. It doesn't mean I have to like it. But the thing I like is that I'm like, you know what? I'm sitting here listening to music, and they're over there listening to music. We're all listening to music, you know. They love their children. They have families. They have friends. They have work and play, and they have their music. So for me, it's kind of a unifying thing. It shows that we're no different. You know, when I travel, people are much more similar than different. You know, at a Passover service we had, because we celebrate some Jewish holidays. I don't observe Judaism, but sometimes we do some holidays. And the thing I said was, you know, that the Muslims and the Jews and the Christians, we all come from the same place. And we have so many things that are the same and that are similar, and just a handful of things, 1 or 2, 3 things that are different. And yet we go to war because of the few things that are different, rather than thinking of all the things that we have are the same. So for the first thing I think of when you ask me that question is that music reminds me that we're all the same. If everybody would spend 10% of their day doing something to make the world a better place. I don't know why I've always been that way, but I always have been that way. Ever since I was little, I looked up to people like Martin Luther King and Mahatma Gandhi. These were heroes for me. And you know, my son said to me, again, he asked me, are we going to leave the United States if McCain becomes president? And I said, did Martin Luther King run away from the United States when he was growing up here and he was treated terribly by the whites? No, he stayed and he tried to make it a better country, and he did. He made it a better place. Did Gandhi leave India because they were being treated badly? No. I said, we're not going to leave. We're going to stay, and we're going to try and make things better. Most recently, my son Ian and I worked together to have a dog park in Park City. He wrote me an email 3 years ago. He was visiting my mother in Florida, that he was at this beautiful dog park. It's a 5-acre park just for dogs to run with no leash, no collar. He said, wouldn't it be great if we had one of these in Park City? So I wrote an email to the mayor and the city council, and I signed it Ian. And I sent it. So by the time he came home, it was already to be voted on. And we went and we spoke, and they voted yes. And for 3 years, we've been working with them. And just 2 weeks ago, they cut the ribbon. And there's a picture in the newspaper of Ian with the mayor cutting the ribbon. So he has learned how to take a dream and make it happen. So that's also having a dream and making it happen. It's not just about music. And hopefully I've instilled that on my son, that you can dream something, and I've showed him this is how you make it happen. Specifically with this, you know. But now you can take any dream and you can make it happen.
Let it rise over the mountain. Let it spread out to the sea. Let it rise over the mountains. Let it spread out to the sea. Let it rise over the mountains. Let it spread out to the sea.
Hi, I'm Rich Wyman, a musician from the United States. You better watch out for One We TV. Look at onewee.com and get inspired.